Have you ever gone to Paris? Wouldn't it be neat to visit the famous museums and look at the well-known street art? In Franklin W. Dixon's mystery novel, Hardy Boys Case 15, A Con Artist in Paris, Frank and Joe Hardy are visiting the famous city. They are in Paris because their dad, Fenton Hardy, was invited to speak at the IPAD, International Professional Association of Detectives Convention. While in the city, the boys look at street art. Joe is hoping to see work created by the famous artist and social activist Lee Styler. Frank can't believe that Joe wants to look at street art when Paris has world-class museums. Joe would like to go to Gallery Simone when more street art is displayed. Frank, however, wants to go to the Louvre. The duo decides to go to the Louvre. When they get to their hotel, they are greeted by Bayport's top cop, Chief Olaf. They talked. Olaf hoped that the weather in Bayport would let up because Fenton Hardy was still there. Olaf pointed to a man and introduced him as Inspector Devereux, a grump. Olaf then introduced the boys to Monsieur Plouffe. Plouffe showed the boys his pen, which was Napoleon's and gold-plated. The boys went up to the room. At 5:01 in the morning, fireworks were going off. Frank and Joe got out of bed and went to their hotel room's window. A sign hung over the glass pyramid of the Louvre saying, "Don't blame me. Napoleon stole it first." The boys went to the glass pyramid of the Louvre. Many IPAD detectives were already at the square. A car drove into the square. Lo and behold, Inspector Devereux hopped out and went over to a stunned security guard. Devereux went to look at the security footage. The IPAD detectives followed Devereux. Frank managed to get a good look at the footage. It was shocking. There was an empty frame hanging on the wall where the world's most expensive painting, the Mona Lisa, should have been. A guard ran into the room where the painting should have been. The whole audience was shocked. The Mona Lisa was back. Joe and Frank went to Devereux and said, "It's a 3D projection." Walking back to the hotel, Joe studied the banner. Looking at Plouffe, Frank said, I think there is something else Napoleon stole." Plouffe ran back to the hotel and found the safe that was holding his gold-plated pen was gone. Frank heard Plouffe on the phone. The one named Simone rang a bell. Joe asked Plouffe if it was Gallery Simone. Plouffe said yes. Frank added that was where the Stylo's new artwork was. Frank and Joe decided to go to Gallery Simone. They were at the security checkpoint when the guards snapped the rope shut. A man behind them with an expensive diving watch convinced the guard to open the rope. The boys check out Georges' son Denis's exhibit. They notice a woman who they think is Simone Lachance, the owner of the gallery. They introduce themselves to her and begin to talk. One thing that caught the duo's attention was that she was suggesting that Plouffe stole his own pen because he set such a high insurance payout. She leads them at a painting showing bomber planes dropping Stylo's signature pens. A man behind the boys asked if they liked the painting. The man who was wearing the expensive dive watch introduces himself as Cyril Brune, otherwise known as Stylo. Cyril invites the boys to a party at his residence. The Hardy boys then go back to their hotel. When the boys were back at their hotel, the iPad detectives were buzzing about these stylo paintings all over the doorsteps and cherries in Paris with no card saying Stylo is not a thief. But Inspector Devereaux believes this is not the case. He thinks Stylo is the thief of the Mona Lisa and Proust's pen. He has evidence based on Stylo's motive and similarities to one of his art installations. Devereaux meets with Sorel to tell him he has found evidence linking him to the pen heist. Sorel makes a daring escape using his dune buggy. Frank and Joe head to Sorel's houseboat, located in the Seine River, to see if they can find him. When they get there, they notice Inspector Devereaux's men sticking out Sorel's houseboat. Suddenly, the boys notice bubbles appearing in the water. A spy drone appears and follows the bubbles. The duo start chasing the drone on foot. Luckily, Sorel left his dune buggy outside. The boys hop in with Joe at the wheel. Frank scans the sleek James Bond-like dashboard. He presses a big red button. A paraglider wings folds out, and the boys are airborne. When they are up in the air, a one-man submersible scooter comes to the surface. The diver takes off his mask. It is Sorel. While in the air and navigating around Paris's many famous landmarks, Joe and Frank discuss the case. They both agree Stylo didn't pull the Mona Lisa hoax and the Napoleon pen heist. When they fly over the Arc de Triomphe, a sign falls from it saying, Stylo is not a thief. Imitation is the sincerest form of framing. The boys believe whoever is flying the drone is the mastermind behind the crime. Finally, the boys are able to land the flying buggy on a side street. The Hardy Boys meet Sorel at his office. Sorel would like Frank and Joe to help him find out who framed him. Frank notices a picture of Sorel standing with Georges Saint-Denis in art school. Frank asks if Georges wanted revenge. However, Sorel states that he doesn't think a classmate would rat him out. Joe looks at the picture further and discovers that Georges Saint-Denis is also a street artist, Ratatouille. The boys leave to take a look at Ratatouille's newest artwork. When they leave, they notice a flock of pigeons flying overhead with the spy drone. The boys start running after the drone. It descends and then disappears. Frank spots the sewer cover slid over to the right. The boys lift the cover off and climb down. They reach the catacombs under Paris. They find some oil-filled lanterns and light them. They start walking in the catacombs until they reach a three-way tunnel. It was easy for the boys to see which tunnel led to Denis's hideout because it was covered in his artwork. When they reached Denis's hideout, the doors left open just a crack. On the other side was a loud bumping, and a blue light appeared. The boys peer into the door. Georges was tied to a chair and was watching a TV screen. Frank asked Georges if he was alone, and he nods, yes. Joe unties the gag. Georges starts babbling at light speed. Frank says, "How about a little slower in English?" "You must let me go!" Dennis begs. The boys tell him that they will not let him go until he tells them why he took the pen and framed it with Stylo. Dennis argues that Sorel stole his idea of street art. Joe states that street art did not belong to one person and that Stylo was using it for social activism. He argues more, but suddenly turns pale and whimpers. The boys find out why he was tied up. On the TV, a person appears and has a gun. Who is it? Would coming into the catacombs be rewarded or prove to be a fatal mistake? Will Frank and Jill Hardy ever find out who the mastermind was behind the Mona Lisa heist and the Holy Pen theft? Find out in the end of Con Artist in Paris. My favorite part of the story is when the Hardy boys are in pursuit of the spy drone while driving Cyrella's dune boat. Frank pushes the big red button on the dashboard and a paraglider wing folds out. They went airborne and saw sights of Paris. My opinion of the book is it was a very good book. I would definitely read this book again. It is action-packed and has twists and turns on every page. Every chapter leaves you with cliffhanger action and suspense. If you like mystery, suspense, and the sights of Paris, this book is good for you.